Hey guys, welcome to today's video where I want to show you how to install the Auxbeam 5D Pro light bar on your roof rack. Let's go. First, of course, you have to get those test fit images for the gram before you get to work, so these are mine. Now let's get started by installing the mounting tabs that go on either side of the light bar. Pretty much you just have the center bolt in there and then the screws on either side to help orient where the light points, up or down. And that looks good. I'm going to leave it loose for now. Now it's time to put the slot nuts into the roof rack. To do that, I'm going to take out 3 bolts on the sides of the crossbars, just like this. And that allows me to pop up the crossbar like this and have access to the slot openings on the sides. And here you see me putting those slot nuts into the roof rack crossbars. I'm going to leave a link to these in the description. So what these allow me to do is to mount all sorts of stuff to my roof rack's crossbars by sliding them in. And I could change where they are in a left to right orientation. And here I'm just testing with some bolts I had laying around to see what the thread pitch was so that I could order some properly sized ones. I'll leave a link to those in the description as well. And this is how these slot nuts work. They basically cinch up to the top of the roof rack slot and they hold things in that way. Now I'm just putting those 3 bolts back into the crossbars and tightening them down just enough. Now it's time to install the light bar. So first, I'm just going to put the light bar onto the roof rack crossbar and try to center it as best as I can. Then I can bring those slot nuts over to where the openings on the installation brackets are for the light bar and screw in those shorter bolts that I ordered, along with a washer and a lock washer to make sure it stays secure. Now it's time to figure out the up and down orientation of the light bar. I'm thinking that I'm going to start out with just having it like 90 degrees to the ground. So what I'm going to do is just find that point and then tighten down those screws on either side of the mounting bolt there on the side of the light bar. And that looks pretty straight to me. And I may want to point it down or up based on my experience on the trail, but for now I'm going to start out with it just pointing dead straight. And now I'm just cinching up the mounting bolt along with the lock washer on the left side and the right side to finish the installation on that part of the mounting bracket. Now it's time to move on to the bottom part where we tighten down those bolts that we talked about earlier. And once that's done, you're pretty much done with the hardware mounting here. So this is pretty secure and I have a lot of confidence that this will hold up just fine to road conditions like wind and bumpy roads and things like that. So no issues there. And here's how it looks installed without any wiring done yet. Now it's time to get started on powering this light bar. First, I'm going to determine how much length I have in the provided harness. And it looks like I have about 10 feet without counting any of the other stuff like the switch and the battery mounting cables that we won't be using in this installation because I have the Auxbeam switch panel to work with. Now, if you're doing a normal installation and you needed the switch, you would just route that into the interior of your vehicle. Here, I'm just securing the connector and just getting an idea of how much length I'm working with on the actual vehicle to make sure that it's enough. And it looks like I have about 4 feet of excess, so I'm looking good here. I was actually able to stuff the connector up through that bottom of the wind fairing right there and bring it through, so I got kind of lucky with that, so I didn't have to unbolt that. That JW off-road wind fairing fits really close, so I'm really glad I was able to do that without having to take it apart again. And here's the wiring before final installation here. Now I need the positive and negative ends of the harness, and to do that, I'm not going to cut the wire, I'm just going to rip them right out of that plug that goes into the relay there. So that's me just kind of ripping them out. And I can put those ends directly into the Auxbeam switch panel that I installed in a previous video. So as you'll see here, I have that switch panel up on my dash, and there is the control box for the panel. All I need to do is now route the wiring through the cowl like this. And I've shown you how to do this before on my LED installation guide video that you could check out. Basically, you have some clips that you need to pop up, and you can stuff the wiring in underneath the cowl and then pop those clips right back in, and this allows for really clean installation of wiring. And the wiring has a path to go up the side of the windshield, up underneath the JW off-road wind fairing on my roof rack, and then it goes all the way over here to the control box, as you can see. Now all you have to do is unscrew one of the lugs for the negative and positive cables respectively, put the cable ends into each respective lug, and then cinch up that screw again, and you're ready to go with the light bar. That's how simple wiring is with the Auxbeam switch panel. And let's see if we can get this light bar to turn on with my install. And it works, guys. This light bar is the brightest thing on my vehicle by far. This thing outputs around 360 watts, which is, I believe, more than all the LEDs on my vehicle currently combined. This thing is so bright. Those center bulbs put out a focused beam of light so you could see way far away in the center of the trail, and those side lights help to light everything else up. These JW off-road ditch light brackets actually help keep the line away from the windshield wipers, and now I'm just securing everything under the roof rack with a zip tie, and that holds everything in place. And I think the final step is just to secure that wire that goes along the windshield with a piece of vinyl wrap. So this is the final install, you guys. I think it looks super clean. I really like the look of it, and I think its performance looks extremely promising, but time will tell when we get it out on the trail and give it a proper review. If you want a discount on this, use code LAURA470 on the Auxbeam website, and we'll see you in the next video.